So you want to learn anything fast, but whenever you try, nothing seems to stick in your mind. Maybe you're always telling yourself that you really want to lock in, but when it comes down to it, you just spend your free time watching YouTube videos like this one. Well, you're in the right place. No matter what you want to do in your life, whether it be learning how to speak a new language, becoming famous online, or trying to pass all your classes, through using this one simple formula that I'm about to reveal to you, you will be able to succeed wherever and whenever you'd like. Even if you think you're really smart and already got it all down, stay tuned because you may just find out you're doing it all wrong. Let me ask you, where does everyone do most of their learning? That's right. School. So I want you to think back to your own experience. Your teachers would just yap at you for hours while you struggle to stay awake in the back row, and then assign you homework to learn even more by reading a textbook or watching a short video. But the problem with this is that not everyone tackles learning the same. Everyone has their own way of learning quickly and effectively that suits them the best, but schools all assume everyone learns the same way. Nobody is really taught how to learn, but just given what to learn. And most of the time, they do it wrong, not knowing the way to efficiently and reliably absorb information and make it stick in their brains. If you're thinking to yourself, what is this guy talking about? I already know how to learn. Well, I've got bad news for you, bud. You're probably not doing it correctly. And who am I to be lecturing you all like this? Well, I did study neuroscience at Stanford, and I do have this shiny degree that says I can learn good. I've spent years studying the brain so that I can help you use yours more effectively. And after my 20-something years of schooling, I'm going to show you the secret to learn anything faster and better than everyone around you. The first principle you need to understand is that before succeeding in anything, try your best to fail as much as you can, as fast as you can. Now, that may seem shocking, but hear me out. Say you want to get famous on YouTube, and with the first video you post, you gain millions of views and subscribers. And then every subsequent video you post gets you millions more views and millions more subscribers. While you definitely have the numbers to show for it, you haven't really learned anything. Sure, you found some sort of success, but not as much as you possibly could have had you first failed many more times. Only through intensive failure will you be able to learn what does and what doesn't work. If a video you post doesn't do that well, you'll know not to repeat that same thing and do something else in your next video. And that process may happen countless times before you actually succeed. And through countless failures, you'll be able to refine what you do and succeed the most. You know, even Mr. Beast spent years failing before he ever went viral. And it was only through those experiences of failing video after video that he learned how to actually become a good YouTuber. In anything that you fail, take a step back and reflect on what you're able to improve on, even if it seems good enough. If you make a video that flops, you want to understand what exactly made that video flop so that you can make your next video even better and hopefully not flop. Sure, being perfect the first try is great, but reality isn't that simple. There's no guarantee that that success will last, so going through failures and actually learning ensures the longevity of your accomplishments. So because failing a lot leads to success, it would make sense to try and fail as much as you can, as fast as you can. There's a great quote from Thomas Edison that goes, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." So try viewing every failure or setback as an opportunity to learn and grow. That way you can come back even stronger and better than before. For those in school, the quickest way you can speedrun this process is active recall. Some of you may know this and use it, and that's great, but for those of you who don't, active recall is a study technique where you're trying to retrieve information without relying on your notes or any other sort of resources. So say you're studying for an exam. You want to ask yourself questions about the course material or topics you think will be on the exam. Then with just whatever information you can pull out of your head, write down everything you know about those topics. You're obviously not going to remember every single thing in detail, but that's okay because afterwards you can go back to your notes and start filling in the details that you missed. Through this process, you are actively going through failure rapidly and learning more each time you fail to remember, which in the end leads you to learning much faster and actually retaining the information. Eventually, you'll even be able to remember everything that you needed to know. The second principle that you must understand is Pareto's principle. Pareto's principle, for those of you who do not know, says that a small amount of input, roughly 20%, amounts to a large amount of output, around 80%. In other words, the majority of results come from a low amount of effort. 20% of the work gets you 80% of the results. And when applying this principle to learning, that 20% of input can be seen as the fundamentals of what you're trying to learn. Oftentimes when people try to learn things, they try to dive in headfirst into a difficult task without understanding the basics and fundamentals. But the biggest impact on your results comes from learning those basics and fundamentals. Learning more complex things after will definitely help you improve even more, but not without starting with the foundations. When you're studying, don't try to remember every single piece of information. Focus on the biggest, most important topics and ensure that you recognize those first. As another example, when you're learning a new language, instead of trying to remember thousands of words and complex sentence structures for super specific situations that you probably won't use on a daily basis, start by learning the 1,000 words that are most commonly used and the most basic sentence structures. In doing so, you'll be able to learn much more much faster because you'll build the fundamentals to actually start communicating in that language. All the advanced vocabulary and grammar will only stick once you've got a solid base down. So when you're trying to learn something, don't try and understand that 80% of content to only get 20% of the results. Start with that first 20% and then you'll be able to get a much broader understanding with that 80%. In everything that you want to learn, you need to really understand the foundations before committing to difficult ideas. And for the third principle you must consider, do not rush your learning. It may sound a bit counterintuitive after everything we've talked about in this video, but to really learn something, you must take your time. Your brain is like a muscle. Working out by learning makes it stronger, but there's only so much it can take in a day. It needs time to rest and process that information that is gathered. Because of this, it's important to pace yourself when learning and set different tasks each day that you're learning. With anything that you want to learn, there are different steps you must take in order to do so. Think about what you want to learn. There are definitely categories or steps that you can break it up into. For instance, if I want to learn how to play basketball, there are several things that I have to learn, from how to shoot, dribble, layup, rebound, play defense, and more. If you try to learn all of these things at once, you aren't going to learn that much, only really tiny portions of each skill. Now, if I instead wanted to focus on only one of these, say learning how to do a layup, you'll be able to learn much more. Instead of trying to remember 5 different complex concepts, focusing on one allows your brain to actually develop that skill and retain it better. Take time to build each skill until it becomes secondhand nature, and only then should you move on to another skill. Many times when trying to learn something, people have to understand many things at once and aren't really ever able to master anything. The most important concept you need to recognize when learning anything is that you must believe that you can learn it. No matter where you start from and no matter what you see around you, people being much more skilled than you have to understand that you can master anything that you want to learn. You need to have overconfidence in yourself, because even a small bit of doubt will limit your capabilities in a pretty big way. With everything that you know today, there was once a point where you had to struggle to learn it. So even if you're struggling right now, with enough time, you'll surely be able to do so. And if it is something very important to you, don't just learn it just to learn it. Immerse yourself into it. Treat it as your passion and enjoy it. Then you'll be thinking about it all the time, in bed, in class, at work. You'll become almost addicted to learning. And you need this sort of obsession when you really want to excel at something. That's the difference between novices and masters. And we all want to be masters at something. Learning fast comes down to 4 core ideas: focusing on failing, understanding the fundamentals, learning one step at a time, and immersing yourself in learning.